I got a phone call from Evan, and it was on Zoom. And I don't know where he got my number, but so we bullshit and talked. And in the conversation, he said, "Yo," he was talking about Power Flow. He loved Sen Dog, and loved what I was doing with Sen. But he said, "Hey, let's get together and jam." And I was like, was the last thing I thought. So
Yeah.
this whole thing, it started with just four friends getting back together for dinner and hanging out in a jam room, and we jammed. We ate, hung out first, and it was like reliving our old friendships, laughing and about old times. And once we got past that, I was like, this is cool. This is great to see the guys.
Billy, thank you so much for your time today. It is fantastic to see you again. It is obviously quite the exciting time. I mean, I know that this has been a process long in the making for you, but the grand return of Biohazard is upon us. How are you doing apart from tired?
I'm not tired. I'm actually feeling great. It's just early in the morning here. I live in LA now, so it's we're on a different time zone. But it's awesome. I don't look at it as like it's a return. I look at it as like a restart.
Yeah.
We got back together quickly. Not quickly. It happened over a few years.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with my good friend Scott Koenig, who managed us for pretty much half of our career, the first half, and I was the last person. Ended up, a friend of his that spoke to him. He was in the hospital. Last thing he said to me, the whole conversation was just talking about my bands, Power Flow and Billy Bio, and the last thing he said, listen, bury the hatchet with the guys, and it wasn't the guys, bury hatchet with Evan. Get back together and make it work because you guys did something great and amazing, and you owe it to yourselves, you owe it to the fans, people who followed you and love you, and do it. And I'm like, nah. I moved on. I had my bands.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Power Flow last time. So I bumped into Evan about a month later at a memorial at the Rainbow, and tapped him on the shoulder, shook his hand, told him I wish it was great to see him, but I wish it was under better circumstances.
Right.
And then went about my life and working on a new Powerful record. Sen Dog had a heart attack. It was crazy. And then I got a phone call from Bobby saying he spoke to Evan. And this is all over. It's months and months and months. Yeah. And then I was in Florida producing a band called We All Rise. And I got a phone call from Evan, and it was on Zoom. And I don't know where he got my number, but so we bullshit and talked. And in the conversation, he said, "Yo," he was talking about Power Flow. He loved Sen Dog, and loved what I was doing with Sen. But he said, "Hey, let's get together and jam." And I was like, was the last thing I thought. So This whole thing, it started with just four friends getting back together for dinner and hanging out in a jam room, and we jammed. We ate, hung out first, and it was like reliving our old friendships, laughing and about old times. And once we got past that, I was like, this is cool. This is great to see the guys. Then I'm like, okay. Then we were talking about doing shows and playing something, and then I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna last. This ain't gonna,
Right.
the skeptic inside of me, but it did. And it got better and better and more fun and more fun. And we kept raising the bar. The shows were fun. And when you see a band on stage that's having fun, it's not only contagious, but it's authentic. It's real. Mm-hmm. Bands, a lot of times when they get back together after all these years, it's a money grab, and it's an opportunity to pay off your house or pay your mortgage, right, or whatever, put your kids through college, or if whatever it is. So, to get a chance to relive, I wouldn't say relive. It was almost like we tapped into the 90s because we were playing a bunch of classic Biohazard songs. We were having fun, high-fiving on stage, which I don't think we ever did. When when we were really young in the early days,
You were too cool to high five when you were young. Come on.
yeah, we were big chips on our shoulders,
Yeah.
and it was a different era. I think that enjoying it, and when you get to a certain point in your life, the things that matter when you were younger really are insignificant, and that's how we kind of looked at it and look at it now still. So we just kept going with it.
Yeah.
And if you would have told me, bro, Billy, in 2 years, you're going to be sitting in front of me talking to me about a new Biohazard record that you're really fucking psyched about, and it's going to be an amazing one, I'd be like, yeah, sure.
So
So I just
when
kept going. I just kept riding along and enjoying it, having a great time, and haven't looked back since. So here we are.
Yeah. So in that journey, when was that moment that you kind of mentally took a step back and were like, yeah, this is Biohazard again? Was that very first jam night, or was that first show? Like, when did it dawn on you that, okay, this is more than just friends reuniting and maybe having some fun with some instruments? This is it again. Like how early in that journey did that realization happen for you?
A big flag for me was when we played the first show. It was at the Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Mm-hmm.
It was in May of 23, and we were like the old days, completely unrehearsed. And Biohazard was never a calculated band. We're not like a band that just goes
Right.
out and says, "Okay, let nose to the grind." We work hard, but we don't plan a lot,
Right.
And it's a vibe thing. It's like a boxer against the ropes. We always like being in that situation. It's not, you know, it's not what I do with other parts of my life, but it works with Biohazard. We got on stage, and it was raw and real and authentic. It was like fucking so. It was like things were out of tune, and things were like the sound wasn't perfect. All these things, just like the old days. I was like, wow, this is fucking great. This is really cool, and it's nice to kind of let go of the reins and kind of just let it be.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did 2 shows in New York, and it was awesome. I remember I got hurt with jujitsu, and my left arm was numb. I could barely play guitar the night before. I was flipping out, but we played those shows. They were amazing. And then we did a tour, and I think it was during the tour that the machine got oiled like it used to be,
Mm-hmm.
and it became lubricated, and all the gears kind of synced up, and it worked. And it was then I didn't sit down. It wasn't like I walked off stage and was like, okay, cool. Now we're fucking back on top again. It was more like, this is just fun, and it was all about more having fun and great time, and walking off stage every night, high fiving the dude, your brother's going, fuck yeah, it was just a blast.
Mm-hmm.
So we just kept doing it, and each tour got better and better, more fun, more opportunities, more just more good times, and being through the ringer, it was a welcome change and a welcomed new, I wouldn't say path a new experience for the band.
I remember from when you and I were talking about the Power Flow album that I think I'm paraphrasing here, but I think you said something along the lines of like, not a lot of people like to record with me because I do push people to the extreme to get the best out of them. Going back into the recording process with the guys from olden days who have worked with you in the past, like, did you go at it from a different angle where you're like, okay, I'm not going to start by pissing off everyone again, or like what was your strategy, if you will? What was your plan going into the studio?
So it was different. It was it's not that big. Like every band I work with, it's a challenge. I push them really far,
Right.
and then after we look back, and they're like, "Oh, fucking awesome!" But during the process, I'm not a good enough kind of guy. That's it. It's all or nothing. With this record, though, It was, you're in my studio. We are all cramped up into a little room. It was, bro, it was like it's a vocal booth. I have a giant recording room. I have a bunch of different rooms in the studio, but this vocal booth is right behind the main room, and it's like 8 by 8. So we put the drums there. We put the amps. It was so cramped that you couldn't even you you couldn't even see each other. For the side, you couldn't even you couldn't even move your guitar. You'd bump into another guy, and the way the sound meshed and the energy, it was fucking so captivating and so powerful. So don't waste your time, for you and your kind, trying to divide.
There's some powerful stuff on this album. We live in an extremely divided society at this point. And I feel like Biohazard always had like that mantra of like, music can unite people more than anything, especially politics. But I want to ask you a serious question here. People on either side of the extreme, whether they're on the far left or on the far right, that will happen. They will take pieces of your songs or lyrics or messages, and they'll use that as like, yeah, that's what the other people have to change to be more like me, in a way. Like you talk about, for example, what is it like? How taking or looking at news but not realizing that it's propaganda and stuff like that. Those are things that people on different sides of the aisle complain to each other about. So what's it like for you as an artist that will at some point will see people who all love Biohazard interpret your words in their own way, and maybe in completely a different way than you wrote it? Like, that's gonna happen with a band that has outspoken messages. Like is that something that you think about?
I don't worry about how people are gonna think or react to my music. I just, it's always been about myself. I just express how I feel. We all do. And as far as how people are going to use things against each other, I mean, it's hard to, I don't know how my fans, I don't say fans. I refer to it's more like family, but I assume people who follow us like us for who we are, what we stand for, what we're about, and those are strong. There's some strong values and morals that we live by, and how I raise my kids, and how I was raised. But the division, the whole concept of divided we fall, and there's a twofold thing. I mean, Biohazard, we're stronger together than we are separate, obviously. So there's that play. But the situation, I mean, look at the situation with Canada, and you guys are our fucking neighbors. I've had some of the greatest times in my life, and almost some horrific times in my life. I was arrested. I was found out my mom passed away when I was in Montreal. All these crazy things, but we're fucking neighbors. So you're our brothers and sisters, but yet there's all these jokes that are horrible between the nations about all this. We don't have to go into it, but that shit is fucking crazy. But the more people argue and disagree, and kind of it pushes the conversation away from things. Here's a perfect example. I don't know how it's going on in Canada right now, but we have so many friends and family in Europe. Yeah, Putin is like flying over fucking Sweden and Norway, Sweden and Finland, Poland, invading, just like fucking just pushing the line. It's nowhere on the news. I don't care what outlet. You have to dig deep to find it. There's no headlines. There's nothing, and it makes you wonder what the fuck is going on. What is this? What is it? It's almost like. Anyways, but the division separates us so much that we all forget that we all bleed red, We all have our things that we have going on, depending on part of your life. You just watch me, I couldn't even feed my son for breakfast. He likes to feed himself, but I had to get up and take care of and take him to school.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that opportunity. I love that time. But those are important things to me. Who you voted for, or what you believe about this subject or that subject, is a beautiful privilege for you to have, and I respect that more than anything. If it's different than me, I like that. I love the differences in the world. You have to embrace the differences. When you kind of hone in on the differences make, with the inequality, saying, "Oh, you're different than me, so you're less than me," or "You don't believe in this," or "You don't blah blah blah." That's what fucking kills society.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to talk, and respectfully, you can disagree on things, but it doesn't make somebody better or worse.
Yeah.
And that's the whole concept of divided we fall.
There you
Pay
go.
attention, because shit, as the more the two dogs barking. There's a great video I seen recently. Two dogs are barking at each other. They're like ready to attack each other, and they open the gate, and the
I've seen
dog
it, yeah.
stops. Yeah, that's what's going on.
With everything that you're just saying, and like all the whole story of how people that needed to bury a hatch, at least two people, and to get back together and find the balance with the help of Matt to, nostalgia and being relevant, if you will. I think that's what you were talking about when Matt's kind of perspective came on. And then also like talking about how division kills society, really. If I know you love your kids, and I know that you love all the young people that are finding their way to Biohazard now, like the new generation of fans. So the anonymous 16-year-old that is picking up this album and getting into Biohazard for the first time, to wrap us up with, let's wrap us up on a heavy note, or maybe a fun note, I don't know. What's the one thing you want that 16-year-old to take away from this new Biohazard album?
Our music back in the day is more relevant now than it was then. This record fits in with urban discipline. You could put it in between urban discipline and state of world address. Why? Because the fucking world is fucked up. And the more pressure that we have on our shoulders, I don't care if you're fucking 24, 14, or 44, that pressure needs to come out. And the underground subculture scene, and with bands like Biohazard and so many more, that pressure is a positive release of that energy. You have to release it. If not, it'll fucking destroy you. So that's why I think that the younger generation is going to fucking resonate with this record, and it's going to hit them in the fucking nose. They're going to feel it, and they're going to believe it.
There you go. All right. All these 16-year-olds and 41-year-olds can release all that built-up aggression and energy and emotion when you guys come into play in a few weeks from now. I look forward to that show a lot. Billy, it was great talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. I'm always very appreciative of your generosity. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I wish you all the best with this release cycle.
Thank you, brother. Let's talk more in Toronto. Peace.
Sounds good. You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it, and subscribe to the channel.